Live from Spare Bedroom Studios, you are listening to Under PDT.
On today's Under PDT, Wes and I will be getting into a little bit of the Santa rally, a little bit of the trades of the week. It's been a little while. We missed you guys. So we have a lot to catch up on, a lot of trades going on. And we must be at an absolute record high on services available. So we can only bite our lips so long. We'll have some commentary on that. But before we get into any of that, a word from our unofficial sponsor, Espolon. First off, congratulations to Nick Vacciolo. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your last name, but he is the first recipient of a free bottle of Espolon. Espolon doesn't know anything about us, but we love their tequila. And if you tweet at Espolon and put at Under PDT in the same tweet and say that you bought the aforementioned bottle of Espolon because of us, we will Venmo you the cost of that bottle. So Trade Superior on Twitter. This is not a bait and switch. We are doing an Espolon promo, even though Espolon doesn't know it's from a hole in the wall. We're getting an ad deal or we're getting a cease and desist. We love you, Espolon. Drink responsibly.
And tweet the receipt. Show the receipt.
Tweet the receipt. Trade Superior. Seriously. We will give you the money. We're good for it.
That's right.
All right. So, where do we even start?
Man, I guess with the Santa rally, because all I'm seeing is a lot of statistics and a lot of charts, and everybody's saying, hey, look, there's a 75% chance that we get the Santa rally this year. Or how many charts are we going to see up into Christmas saying there's still a chance to get the Santa rally? And if we barely finish positive for the month, it was a Santa rally, right?
It'll probably be chalked up to that. How many old men that love to share market platitudes, looking at you, Peter Brandt, love to say, oh, you can't time the macro market, so don't try to time the macro market. You could just let it play out over very, very long durations of time, and you know what the outcome will be. We hear that all the time. But for some reason, sell in May, go away. Santa Claus rally. Like all of a sudden, seasonality, we're experts. It makes no sense.
Yeah, well, it's all in the numbers in the cloud.
Yeah, true. It's all in the cloud. And my quant said it. My quant said it, so it's happening. I think that I'm going to guess the next 10% is down on the S&P 500. And let me just say, that's totally anecdotal. I have no evidence for that. This is gut feel. I'm just saying the next 10% is down. So Santa says, fuck you, you get coal.
Yep. I think it's coal this year. And that's, let's blame it on Trump. I think it's Trump's fault.
There certainly will be the trade talk and stuff will make it so it looks like it's Trump's fault. And also every time Trump tries to bully Powell, which I am in the camp, he shouldn't try and do that. But every time he tries to bully Powell, it sort of comes back on him because he's such a polarizing figure and so easy to criticize. So sure. Well, we'll get ready for Trump ruins the market headlines.
I mean, just right now, looking at the S&P, that's early February low does not look like it's out of reach for an aggressive candle tomorrow or Monday. And, if we break that low, it is not a good Christmas.
If we break that low, it's not a good Christmas at all. No. I remember I was actually in Colorado when that was happening. Little humble brag. And I was scared shitless, man, because I was still very much running the short VIX strategy pretty heavily. And I always hedge that because, that's just the nature of something where you stay short long durations of time. If you don't hedge, eventually you'll get got, it'll be bad.
Yeah. Like a natural gas event.
Like a natural gas event where you make a very embarrassing YouTube video thanking people for their barbecue sauce. But neither here nor there. I was hedged. It worked out just fine. But I actually literally because of that, I've almost entirely, not almost entirely, I pretty much entirely eased off the VIX short strategy. Also partially because the VIX short strategy is so popular, it's becoming the shoe shiner trade of the 1920s where, literally there was a sign for it at College Game Day a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
College kids know to do it.
Yeah, Dabo doesn't short the VIX.
Still the best sign of the year.
And that's it. Yeah, in that strategy, you certainly want a nice, calm, trending market. But yes, if you're getting some real good volatility, unless you are really good at shorting tops or essentially buying the dips on volatility, then hey, power to you. But yeah,
I don't think anyone is. They all might say they are. I don't think anyone is.
No.
Yeah,
it's click and pray.
It really is. I mean, you could hedge yourself and say, listen, these are what the odds are, and this is what my defined risk is based on my hedge. But to claim, oh, I'm going to nail the top is, you think a little too much of yourself if you claim you're going to do that.
Which is, in my opinion, kind of sounds like, when you sign up for a service and you place your first trade and you're like, yes, this is how it's going to go. And then after a few months in, you're like,
but this whole place sucks. That's right, it sucks.
Could not have been a better soundboard.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, have services had a worse couple of weeks than these past 2 weeks?
Man, everybody's pitted against each other. I mean, I thought everybody kind of used to be in the game together. And I do think about this. I think, like, everybody – it's funny how people or these new traders that are coming into this idolize these guys on Twitter because they might show a couple execution charts or a couple P&Ls. And still, I mean, I'll have people get my number from an acquaintance or something like, man, I hear you trade. I hear you know how to trade this and that. And I'm just like, look, buddy, I've done it like everybody else. I've taken my licks, taken the hard knocks, and that's why I'm still around, because I somehow still kind of learn from it, even though I will still repeat stupid mistakes. But these people are so polarized by these guys on Twitter, and then they go to like these events in Las Vegas or wherever, and everybody's acting like they're like a low-grade celebrity. And these guys, play it up. And I always wonder, I'm like, but when they all, like all the guys that run the services, when they all get together, like, do they not just have like a big laugh?
No, I don't think so. I think they actually play. I think it's really a major ego stroke for them, and they fucking love it. That's my theory. I mean, trading is viewed as too binary. People go, it's good or it's bad. And there's a lot of shades of gray in there. And just because someone is better than you, because you totally suck and are new and don't know the difference between the bid and the ask, doesn't mean they're fit to teach you to be a long-term sustainable trader. And hence where Twitter marketing comes into play, and we get the shitstorm that we do.
Yep. And, I mean, if this is all I'd be saying.
This aggression will not stand, man.
If I had a service, I would just, put it out there. But it's funny. There's some guys that skate by as like the nice guys, and then some guys that like to be more edgy. And I guess it just makes this whole circus. I really think we could make some kind of short film about this, though. We could make it into some kind of comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. We could definitely make it. I mean,
because the characters are
there's
already
the parodies.
Outrageous. Yeah.
The characters are, you couldn't write better characters than some of these people.
Yeah, and you can just play them up to be a little bit more crazy. I mean, some of them are already full blown, like a little scary.
I agree. You quiver a little bit when you hear that off the rails YouTube videos are out there, because you're like, oh God, I wonder, like, who did he mention in this? They're never like, whoever happens to do it at a given time, no one does that being sane. No one does that because like, this is a sane response to me being angry. That is never the thought process for anybody ever.
No. And then it's also very much like, you have these Twitter wars, and it's like, man, like, would you actually say it to somebody to their face? No.
Oh, of course not. No. Everyone's much more friendly. The face-to-face confrontation, I'm sure it'd be kissing each other on the cheek. I really highly doubt a lot of these people actually embody that persona. I think it's just they're mad online.
Yeah. Easy to happen, right? It's the world we live in.
I suppose so. I mean, maybe sometimes I'm mad online. Someone in our Spartan stock says something stupid, I get mad online.
Shut up, Dim.
Yes, Demetrius, looking at you, president of Argentina. Yeah, so actually that is a good little segue for a few things. First, not the least of which is if you want to join us in Spartan Stocks, it's free. You could see what we're trading, look at our commentary. We're not going to teach you, but if you want to see what we're doing and reach out, we'll probably answer because, I mean, we're nice guys. That's just what it is. Bobby Altuve, which I do not think is his real name, but that's an amazing fictional name, actually came into Spartan Stocks based off of Under PDT and had some good questions today. I was impressed. I was a little like, when someone asks you questions and you're like, oh God, this guy's going to be an idiot. He actually knew what he was talking about and is in JM's system. So has been picking up some good stuff over there. So good for him.
Okay. I missed him.
But
must have been out.
What are we talking about for trades this week? What do you have?
I don't have. I've traded very consistently, very well. Only loss that I have on my books this week actually is ADIL, and I'm okay with
Yeah.
it. I was short at 280. It started to. I actually took it off around like 285, and so I was thankful that I didn't get caught in that little squeeze. I
Yeah.
guess that is actually a 5 minute explosion. And the thing just
Thank you, Moss.
really, really ramped. And so, yeah, for me, I was like, all right, it's not going to go much lower. Um, you could just see it was holding up too well. There was no reason to be in the trade. I'm like, and what am I trying to get here? 10 cents, 20 cents. There's going to be easier trends out there to trade.
Yeah, I think what makes our jobs hard is that when you're trading well, it's kind of boring. It's kind of mechanical. I don't think your subjective intuition in a split second will ever beat the market. You need some sort of system. And if you have some elements that could change in your system, fine, but you need a system. I was in the same boat as you. I lost on ADIL, but it was very like straightforward. Took a normal loss. Kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
There was nothing unusual. It has been a pretty good trading week, aside from the fact I was so pissed off today. CIEN meant a good context for a trade. I sound like JM, a good context. Met a good trigger for a trade for me, both long and short. And I missed, which really upset me because I was looking for it all morning. UXIN was a pretty good one. That was a good one off the bat. So good day today, and it's actually been a good week. Let me go back through some of these names, but it's been a pretty good week with just technical trading, nothing crazy fundamentally out there, just using technical triggers. And yeah, I guess like maybe the theme I'll focus on is know what you're going to trade ahead of time in terms of know what the inputs are you need to take a trade, and then make it so your trading day is just a matter of recognition and not a matter of split second decision making, because I hate to break it to you, I can almost guarantee you're not going to make it on split second decision making.
No. And then you are way too emotional.
Yeah, and then you get fucked.
Yeah, every time.
Yes, and then we make funny memes about you and your food route.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I did QD this morning. Got good open range scalps on those of the gate. ASTC, I got a good short on it yesterday and covered that up before I went out to lunch, and then added back on a couple of those late afternoon pops. Covered up this morning. Actually, I did it in both accounts. 318 cover average in IB and a 315 cover average in Cobra. So I'm happy that worked out that way, because out of nowhere it ramped.
It did run. That was weird today. I got ASTC pretty good. It was one too that if you have super zoomed in time frames that you look at, it could have been a major pain in the ass headache, because it wasn't just like a layup trade in the morning. It had a very miniature trap. It was nothing crazy by any means, but a miniature trap. So you had to know what you were doing to withstand that. But it did end up doing fairly well on ASTC. I was saying yesterday I'm looking for covers low 3 sub 3, and then I ended up just covering end of day in the 330s. So
yeah, nothing wrong with that.
But I was gonna say I'm not terribly pissed about that. QD you did bring up. I actually got stopped on QD in the morning, so I take it back. But I did all right on it in the afternoon on half, and the other half I got stopped on my average. Which, hey, a little note on risk reward. My read was completely wrong, and I finished green for some beer money.
Yep.
So
that is called trading, especially trading and managing your risk
trading.
correctly.
I was going to say trading if you actually want to last.
Yes. Yep.
LCI I had actually yesterday, I believe, or was that a couple of days ago? Yeah, yes, that was a good one. YRIV I did not catch. I know a lot of people were on that. I did not catch YRV. Looking through all my annotations here to see what I did and didn't get. Oh, SPY on the European close earlier in the week too. I did all right. So
I essentially did that on Tuesday. Spencer put into the room that he was long futures 2600, looking essentially for 2700 for an exit, and I like the idea, and I could see it bottoming, and then you had the Europe close. Like the idea, didn't take it. Actually, ADIL is breaking out right now. It's over 4, so. If anybody's still holding short on that thing, you are
Have a plan. Have a plan. Hey, pay me. You're paying me for this. I got good input for you. Have a plan. Take a week off.
Yep.
That's the stuff you pay for.
Yep. If you're still in, have a plan.
If you're still in, have a plan. If you're totally sucking, take a week off.
Yep. It all makes sense to me because, like whenever an athlete is playing terrible, they just tell them to take some time off. No, they tell them to get more repetitions to work it out.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not, I'll go too far on a tangent, but that's your advice. Well, just go away.
In my opinion,
just stop.
to work it out doesn't mean to continue to trade. It means to continue to come out every day, watch, see,
and don't trade, or just make your risk $100, $100 risk.
Work on your discipline because that's the root of what just caused that.
I would agree. Either you don't have a system or you have no discipline, or your discipline, you have discipline, you just lost it for a moment, which we're human, that happens.
Absolutely.
But something tells me it might have been the former in that situation.
Well, hey, but yeah, I actually ended up taking, I was driving home from the boxing gym. I was on my phone. I took a bunch of spot calls, took them overnight, and sold them on the big gap up on Wednesday morning. So that was a decent pickup for me.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. Yeah. On the calls too, that was a clever way to take it. Yeah, Spencer is one of our Spartan Stocks members who's definitely been on a little roll trading futures lately. So good for him. Sophisticated instruments over there.
Yep. He's been really good. He makes a lot of solid calls, and he'll have longer time frames than just the day trade warrior. In no way, for Ross. I think that's something that should be noted. There's probably a pretty distinct relationship with newer trader success and the amount of time, the durations they're looking at for trading. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that should really be emphasized. It's unlikely if you're hyper zoomed in or if you're looking at very, very, very tight durations that you're going to be successful. I mean, piggyback what some of these older guys are doing and turn it to 60-minute candles if you have to, 30, 15s. Wider time frames, you're just going to be so much more consistent. It's such a better likelihood. And I'm sorry if I don't sound like I'm making any sense. I'm just watching ADIL. Just yikes. That's not going to be good for some people. But okay. So right now, looking at ADIL on the 1 hour, I'm looking at it on a PS60 chart. Shout out to Shapiro. Yeah. All it did was flag. Now, if you're watching it on the 1 minute, you see these builds back up to high a day and then just a slam back down. But like you and I always talk about, especially on names like this, if they're surviving the torpedoes.
Yeah, it's a big problem. It's a big problem.
So right here.
As a matter of fact, it's actually, no, I take it back. It's not a problem. Get long. If I was smart, I would have done that.
Yeah, at 250, that was a torpedo. It held. Yeah. And it held actually a higher support than the previous torpedoes. Now, yes, I don't want to confuse torpedo and zombie. Torpedo is just a term we're using here as a quick down move, and it should be the depth to the trend. However,
yeah, just quantify exactly what it is. It is a move that will even add a little spice to it and say it takes out either a 5, a 20, 120, or a 30 or 15 SMA. I'll give you any of those. It takes one out on a rapid move with velocity. Any one of those metrics. And and then you have this. you have the all day rally and now end of day major spike and likely squeeze. So yeah, good move for them and good job whoever got long. And if you called the long on the first hold in the 260 area, good for you. That was a good read.
And that was what I was kicking myself about today is I was focused on shorting it because I'm like, oh, it's a 10 mil market cap. It's a shitty company. Who cares? Number one, they have a trend. Number two, in their PR this morning, they used a keyword, opioid addiction.
Yeah, that's like the old CAR-T.
Yep.
Remember how CAR-T just used to be target phrase? Opioid addiction, same thing right now.
Yep. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, what were you thinking? This is going to be a long.
In
hindsight's 20.
You know what? Yeah, hindsight's 2020. I definitely had a similar thing, and I was annoyed that my bias was so strong to the short side, and I trade a very like open to perception type strategy where yeah, I will come in and say I'm looking more long or more short, but I can be persuaded easily by price action.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't let that happen enough here, especially when 260 turned into 280. I think that, I mean, again, right, it looks very easy for me to say after the fact, look, 280, and then 280 took off. But the longevity holding in the low a day area, the intraday low, uh, definitely a major clue from a technical point of view.
I agree, and that's actually something I've been struggling with for about the past 2 months. I don't know if I can go take it all the way back to the stocks, or I'm sorry, the pot stocks. Certainly the stocks, but the just having a little bit of a preconceived bias on something, and really just coming in unbiased, taking everything for what it is, and then building a game plan out of that.
I've been all right about that. I just didn't do it well today at all.
Mm-hmm.
The only time I was really shitty about it was pot stocks. Pot stocks, God, I was sucking ass. I will fully hand up on that. I was sucking ass on those. Lately, I've actually, I mean, knock on wood, but I've actually been pretty flexible with my reads and done at least relatively well with them. But yeah, this ADIL I wasn't really in major positions that hurt me, but I didn't get the right read on it.
I agree. And I don't know if you're the same way, but like right now, I mean, I've basically got tomorrow and I've got Monday, and then essentially I'm traveling. I've got a lot of stuff going on. So I am essentially wrapping up my year, and I am ready for just that 2 weeks of nothing going on.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I know myself. I'm going to be stuck here like an idiot, just staring at screens. But I know it's going to be nothing.
I'll be on the phone the whole time.
I'll probably like drink kind of heavily at night so that I'm sort of incapacitated.
That's, hey,
coping mechanisms. That's what we call it, coping mechanisms. So, yeah, I agree with you, and even not to humble brag for the two of us, but one of our contacts, Chris Sidiel, major debt trader, was saying, yeah, Wall Street's done after Sunday.
Yeah. I said, all his meetings are this week. After that, everybody's taking off for the holidays. And I mean, man, you can go into any store. I mean, the only thing happening between Christmas, the day after Christmas Day, and New Year's are returns. That's the only kind of business that's being conducted.
Yeah. This is kind of crazy. The more I'm thinking about it, I mean, man, we are close. I'm just thinking about the Santa rally like it has time. It has no time. It's got to do this like now.
So that's you said earlier that you think our next move in the spoos is 10%. Hell yeah, is 10% down. So if we're at, let's say our services, our stock services out there right now, let's say we're at max capacity, we're at 100 on services. How many are around once we are firmly in the next bear market? Number one, because the sub base falls drastically. Now, it's not a lot to keep your service open. It's there's no overhead to them. How many?
Yeah, they're cheap.
And then how many people can actually sustain and trade through it?
Percentage-wise of the Twitter population that's retail trading, I'm going to say 10%.
I think
10% of people.
It's generous.
Yeah, I'm going to say 10%. Yeah, I'll go 10. 10 is where I'll put it.
I mean, that's generous. If you told me over 20, I'd tell you're crazy. Absolutely.
No way over 20. No way over 20.
I mean, I've seen just a lot come and go just from the time I've been around here, which has been about 8 years. But nothing's really taken the cake like this current service.
No, I would say also, God, it's freaking slipping my mind. But how much is like momentum scalping becoming like a major trend in how people trade? And I'm not like, listen, if your edge is validated and you make money, good for you. There's nothing to question there. If your edge is validated, you make money. But momentum scalping, you have to figure when there's not a ton of budget for front running or underwriting or creating secondary offerings, on micro cap stocks is going to vanish. I mean, that's a pretty fair assumption, right?
Right. Yeah, and I mean, man, if you're looking for 5 and 10 cent moves up and down all day long, I mean, I don't.
Well, that's not viable as a. I mean, maybe scalping could be a viable trading strategy, but it's very dangerous to try and scale out the amount of people that you're trying to teach to become scalpers.
Right.
So I don't know. I think there's not going to be a lot of viability for them going forward. That's the long and short. That's my long-winded way of trying to fill some podcast time and saying I don't think that's going to work out for many people.
No.
So
yeah, the best way is to learn how to trade trends.
So what do you think they do? What's the antic when we're firmly in a bear market?
Proprietary systems. Calling when the bottoms are in, or that we're so good at spotting reversal bottoms and catching these huge bull rallies that come in bear markets, these huge rips, that we're actually making higher percentage gains now than we were in the bull market. Bear markets are better.
Bear markets are, well, is the idea, hey, we short, so this is good because things are going down, but then no one is smart enough to say, hey, things never went up to short.
Right.
I mean, I could already see the angle. The angles of, you think I'm good now, wait till you see me in a bear market. And then it's like, hey, you're shorting something that's up 2.6% at $1.15 per share, man.
Yeah.
Like, what, are you serious?
Not a lot of downside there.
No, not a lot of downside there at all. So we have SPY 265.66 to the tick right now. Where do you think we open? And I'll share. I'm not putting you on the spot because I'll share. Where do we think we open first trading day 2019 on the SPY? Where's the first trade go through? Keep in mind, nobody is holding you to this.
North of 2,800. 2,800.
2,800.
I'm going bullish.
You're going with the bull. Okay. Now I feel a little outdone because I like to brand myself as the perma bull. But I said earlier, I think the next 10% is down. I'm going to say 258.61.
Okay.
So it's I like that we have totally different stances so that one of us is going to be very wrong.
Right. I think we're almost in maybe. Now I'm going to say this, and we're going to get a massive red candle down tomorrow. I think we're kind of in the Tesla phase. We're just shaking everything off right now and digesting it, and then it's going to go higher. But if I'm just drawing a couple trend lines on my daily futures chart right now, then it's a bear flag. Watch out for the downside.
Okay, I like how you covered your ass there. You took like every possible point of view. You could be fucking sick on CNBC.
If I'm right, if I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm right.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know I bought puts on that also? Yeah. God. Yeah. You guys clearly weren't listening closely enough. I remember watching Mr. Wonderful talking about taking VXX long, talking about how he loved it as exposure. And it was down, I mean, I'm not even kidding, probably 93%. It was a year later, the next time he mentioned it. And it had it had one of those like August blips where North Korea was just headlines on everything. And it went up probably 20% at, a very relatively short period of time in August. And he was chest beating. And I just remember, I remember it so well because I was so heavily short VXX. And I remember tweeting at him being like, you have got to be kidding. Like, you might be a good businessman, but you are an idiot in capital markets. So long story short, what I'm trying to get at is you are doing an excellent job of saying, I'm right, I'm wrong, I'm right.
Yeah. That's how everybody wins. That's Twitter, baby. I'm going to start my service soon. It's the cash service.
Oh, well, yeah, we already have the cash service. And remember, cash service completely free, sub room of Spartan stocks. It is a lot harder than you think it is. It is not as simple as just keeping cash. This is like Narcos style. So
yeah,
come join us in the cash service.
Yep.
The cash is beating equities and fixed income still, by the way. Hell yeah.
Hey, we know what we're doing over here.
All right. Well, I think we're probably losing our mojo. We're right about on the 30-minute mark. But thanks, everybody, for listening. If you have any questions, reach out to us. You want to join Spartan Stocks, it's free. You can talk to Wes and I directly. Tell us we're assholes. Tell us you love us. Make fun of other people in the room. I mean, it's pretty much a free-for-all.
Buy some Espolon.
Buy some Espolon. That's right. Exactly what I was going to say. Buy some Espolon. Tweet at us. Tag Espolon. We are getting the cease and desist, or we are getting an ad deal. Something's going to happen. Espolon is not just going to have apathy to us. And I think that covers us for today.